Thank you for watching the Housing Oregon YouTube channel. Be sure to join our network and get involved in the work that we are doing. If you can, please like and subscribe. It helps us build this channel, which serves as a platform to communicate with our members. This video is part of our 2025 annual conference. We're looking for folks to be on the conference planning committee. Please email info@housingoregon.org.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for joining us for our Mentorship and Internship What Really Works discussion. So this is going to be an interesting one. I think we've got an important conversation here today. As you know, our industry is facing a multitude of challenges right now. And as a recently retired recruiter, I'm particularly aware of one of them, and that is that it's getting harder and harder to find experienced professionals in the field. So when I retired last year, I decided that what I wanted to do as my passion project in retirement was help to grow that field, help to grow that talent pool. So what I've done is joined the board of the Women's Affordable Housing Network. We are a networking group providing happy hours and educational opportunities for women and allies in the Pacific Northwest. And if you haven't joined, you should definitely join one. It's free to join, and we'd love to have you. So we're going to talk. I'm joined by a number of fantastic panelists here who are going to talk through what their organizations are doing in this area to help to bring people into the field. And so we're going to talk. These are the people who are going to be on the panel. We'll have them introduce themselves in a moment, but I want to start with a few polling questions just to get a sense for who you are and why you came to this panel. So first of all, just to get a feel, how many of you started off your career in housing as an intern or a volunteer? Okay, and several on the panel as well. And I've got a couple others. How many are here looking for an entry-level job in housing? Anyone? Okay, I'm not surprised by that, but you never know. How about people looking for opportunities to grow your career in housing? Okay, yeah, quite a few. All right. How many are looking for help hiring experienced professionals in housing? Great, yes, a lot of you. How many are considering building or growing an internship or mentorship program within your organization? Great. That's fantastic because we need more of that. And so I think we've got a good feel for where you all came from. And so we're going to jump right in. We've got a lot to cover today, some really amazing work that these folks are doing. So I'm going to ask them to start. I'm going to ask to start with introductions. So JT, would you like to start? We're going to go through just what's your current role in the housing industry and how have you benefited from mentorship and internship programs?
Okay, it is working. Hi everyone, my name is JT. I work for Sabin CDC. We're an affordable housing nonprofit based in Northeast. We primarily work with the Black community. My position there is it's technically cultural outreach and cultural events. So I do a lot of external communication, bringing services to our residents like tax help or cooking classes or other things like that. And my position on this is a little different from everyone else's. I have only been working in affordable housing for like 2 years or so still very new to it. And I started off at Sabin in like a volunteer intern position through like AmeriCorps. And I have an interest in getting more people into housing just because being such a young person in this space, my first time coming to Housing Oregon, I was like, this is a very aging space. And there's so much knowledge in that aging space, but but there's a lot of work that should be done to interact with the people who are going to like work after everyone like in this room retires. So that's my position on this.
I'm gonna piggyback in that aging thing. Because I totally agree with that, by the way. Maria Elena Guerra, everybody calls me Meg, which are
Closer
just
to the microphone, Meg.
just my initials. Is that good?
I think so, yeah.
Everybody can hear me? Yes, okay. Maria Elena Guerra, everybody calls me Meg. Executive Director for the Farmworker Housing Development Corporation. I'm one of the aging people that is eager to give the opportunity to the new generations to come into the affordable housing business in all areas. And I just hope that more people get, incentivized by our conversation today to do this. Thank you.
Hi, everybody. Can you hear me? It's kind of weird. Okay. Hi, I'm Kimberly Taylor. Folks call me KT. I'm the Director of Asset Management at Housing Development Center. HDC is a nonprofit consulting group based in Portland, and we work all over Oregon and a little bit of Washington. We do development, so finance and construction, project management, and also asset management for other nonprofit affordable housing organizations, housing authorities, and we work with a lot of funders and jurisdictions. And I'll be talking a lot about education and how to bring folks in through training and certifications in affordable housing. Excited to have everybody here.
Good morning, everyone. Can you hear me okay?
You need to speak into the microphone.
Oh, that's right. We are recording. Thank you. Good morning. Peter Hanley, Executive Director of CASA of Oregon, Community and Shelter Assistance Corporation, not to be confused with court-appointed special advocates. I'm not going to use aging. I'm going to use aged because I feel like I've reached a different level than you, Meg. So, and thank you, JT, for that great introduction. Appreciate that. CASA of Oregon helps organizations around the state develop affordable housing. We act as a consultant. We develop housing, multifamily housing. We convert co-ops to manufactured co-ops. We convert manufactured housing to co-ops, and then we do all of this work through a CDFI that we have. And we also offer individual development accounts throughout the state. And so we'll talk more about our work in internship programs.
Hi there, I'm Kathy Swift of Heritage Bank, but also one of the founding chapter leaders of the Women's Affordable Housing Network, Pacific Northwest chapter. We have a couple of other founding board members, Gloria LaFleur and Lenny here. I came into that role because I saw exactly what JT was talking about. We need that next generation. I've worked in affordable housing for 30 plus years, and I would like to retire, but I need to find some folks to take on the mission because the mission is so important. So there we are.
Here we are. Thank you, everyone. So as you can tell, we've got a lot to cover here, and I'm going to have each of these folks spend a little time, it's not advancing, just walking through their efforts. And what we do at WAN, kind of the way that I see this challenge of getting people into and up through the affordable housing industry. I've been talking a lot about the three legs of the stool. And these folks have worked on different aspects of the different legs of that stool. Those are educational outreach, just raising awareness. A lot of kids don't know about affordable housing as a career choice. So some of these folks are getting out into high school communities, into college, undergraduate, and graduate programs, just to make people aware of the wonderful opportunities available in this field. Then once people are interested, they need opportunity, they need a foot in the door. They need paid internship programs. And so several of these folks are going to talk about the paid internship programs that they offer and that are available. And then once people are starting to establish themselves in the field, we need to really nurture their talent so that they can grow up to be the future leaders in this industry. As our aging panel and everyone else retires, we need the younger folks to be prepared to step up. So mentorship programs are another way to do that. So those are our three legs, and we're now going to have people talk about what has worked for all of them. Kathy, you are first up. You want to talk about what Juan is doing?
Sure thing. So Juan is very pleased to be a member of Housing Oregon. And we mean to complement, not duplicate, what Housing Oregon provides. Specifically, we have seen, and the way we got started, and we are a local chapter of a nationwide organization. Our mission is to empower and develop women in particular, but we have allies, our first member here. So it's everyone who has an interest in the affordable housing sector. One of the things that we do is really the networking and mentorship, where we're trying to match up folks. And one of the things I'm most proud of, we have started a mentorship cohort. We did our first, we started our first cohort that's a year-long experience where we match up an experienced mentor and somebody who wants to learn from that mentor. It could be it's a property manager who wants to learn about development, or it's somebody who is a student at PSU in the real estate program, and they want to really get to know what are the different areas of housing, so match them up. And this is one of the things we see as really powerful. We also provide education, which is lunch and learns, virtual, and really just make sure that folks are aware of what else is made, it comprises affordable housing. We tend to get so siloed, and we tend to, in affordable housing, really just look at our own world because we've got so much to do, right? Never enough hours in the day. This is happy hours, so you get wine and appetizers, and you get fellowship and support. That's one of the things that our organization does. What we're looking to do, because we have been so successful, over 500 members in our chapter, which is Oregon and Washington states, the two states, is to develop an internship program. We have benefited from interns, and we actively recruit folks who are seeking internships to plug into the network, and we'll hear some more about what others are doing in internship. But this coming year, trying to raise money from within our nonprofit to start actually providing paid internships and education opportunities. So it's fun, and our organization, you don't have to pay. It's free. The sponsors come from the industry, and the fact that we're successful in getting that sponsorship is because they see the value of what that little niche we're providing.
Thanks, Kathy. I'm just going to tease another thing that Gloria and I and the rest of the mentorship committee have been working on at WAN, and that is scholarship opportunities for trainings available in the affordable housing space. So we would like to put some of our members through some of these programs where they can really build their skill sets and get excited about next steps in their careers. So look for more information about that in the months to come. We're pretty excited about it. Who's next? Let's see. HDC. Okay.
think I have 7 minutes, so I have
7 minutes.
my little stopwatch here. As I mentioned, HDC is a consulting group based in Portland. We work on the development side, so finance and construction. And our asset management department, which was 5 years ago just me, is now a team of 5. Soon to be 6, and then possibly 7. That just tells you that our industry, though development is obviously extremely important, preserving what we have is equally as important, and that's asset management's job. So I've been in the industry over 25 years, and I started out, none of us start out thinking, oh, we're gonna be an asset manager in affordable housing. In fact, I just did a little show and tell with my staff at HDC, or with my team, and told them about my journey to where I am now. And let me tell you, I had a lot of different jobs. When I moved to Portland in 1999, I got a job through a temp agency answering phones for a property management company. And that's how I got into the industry. So just out of sheer desperation for needing a job. But then I realized, I was like, oh, this is kind of a cool space. And then it just kind of went from there. So what I wanted to share with you guys were 2 things that HDC is doing that I think is a lot of outreach to folks to understand, like Kathy mentioned, getting folks to understand that this is a really awesome industry to get into and a way for you to move up in your career. So I started talking to a class at Portland State, I think 3 or 4 years ago. And the class is Property Management and Society. The instructor, Michael Havlick, is actually in the room. Sorry to point him out. The idea for speaking to that class was basically to educate the room around affordable housing asset management. What is it? A lot of people don't realize the difference between asset management and property management. They are distinct roles. But one thing I'm here to share is that if you work as an on-site property manager, moving into asset management is there's a very clear pathway to do that. And so, which I'll talk about on the next slide, watching my time. Because I could fill this whole thing talking about this. What we're trying to do with PSU and what we're hoping to do for this summer is establish an internship program with PSU, with Michael's students. He sent me a text this morning and said he has already 4 people signed up, ready for summer internships for 2026. And the idea is to have a 10 to 12 week program at HDC to learn all about affordable housing asset management. The great thing about HDC too is that you can learn other areas of affordable housing because we're kind of all under one roof. But the idea is to bring folks in to understand what asset management's all about. And I'm working directly with my newest hire on my team, my associate asset management project manager, who's a recent PSU grad, and she's gonna help me develop the internship program, which I'm really excited about. Next slide. The other partnership that I wanted to spend a little time, 3 minutes talking about, is HDC's partnership with the Consortium for Housing and Asset Management. CHAM is a national organization that is the only organization that provides certification in affordable housing asset management. There are 2 tracks. There's an asset management specialist certification and then a CHAM certification. What that can do, in a lot of cases, CHAM is becoming so recognized in our industry that even if you are, high school grad, haven't gone to college, haven't decided if you're going to college, if you have a CHAM designation, that tells an employer that you are prepared to walk into an asset management job and you know what it is. So it's a nice alternative or a nice complement to a college degree. I helped CHAM pilot a program, which is a virtual AMS, which is the Asset Management Specialist certification, is done completely virtual. So it can be anywhere. You can take it from home. But then we did this sort of pilot program where I helped facilitate a cohort of folks who were learning this work. So it's one thing to do a training online, but then how do you take that information and actually implement it in your job? So that's what the cohort model was all about, was learning from each other, and also how do you implement what you're learning. And so we're bringing more asset management CHAM courses to the Pacific Northwest. Historically, it's been very East Coast focused, but because they need trainers, and that's what I do at HTC, is I'm helping them bring CHAM coursework to the Pacific Northwest to do more stuff in person. Last slide, and then I'm gonna hand it over. So one way, if you are at all interested in exploring affordable housing asset management, signing up for the CHAM newsletter. So not only does CHAM offer trainings, but they have an amazing networking conference once a year. And they, and like I said, tons of trainings online and in person, and lots of resources. So they post jobs, asset management jobs, and job descriptions for folks who are looking for sample job descriptions in the asset management field. They have a list of consultants that folks can work with on asset management related things. It's just a really great organization. So I think in summary, for me, it's about education and training, and reaching out to folks to let them know and kind of shout from the rooftops that we need more trained asset management folks in the industry now more than ever. And so CHAM is a great way to get involved. And then if your college has guest speakers, and hopefully I'll keep talking to the PSU class every year. So thanks so much. 7 minutes and 11 seconds. I did pretty well.
Good job, KT. Let's see, yes, Peter is next.
Good morning, everyone. I just want to thank Housing Oregon, first of all, for putting on the conference and allowing us to kind of mash two presentations together in one, because one group had submitted a mentorship panel and another internship, and so kind of pushed them together into a panel, and what you're going to hear today is kind of that mash. For the OG in the room, walking around, it's kind of reunion week, and you're in this industry long enough, like me, you see folks that have worked at CASA and moved on to other positions, and whether they're in banking, working for the state, working at ETO, gone to national organizations. I always like to think of ourselves first and foremost as kind of a training ground for the industry. Certainly we want to retain folks, but as a small organization, I think the realization is we know that that's not really possible. So I just want to shout out to everybody, if your organization doesn't have career training, career planning for you, please encourage them to do that. At CASA, I feel like we've always been trying to make sure people get to the places where they need to go. And we do that by, not just that professional development, but also we offer a scholarship program for kids of farm workers. We've taken advantage of many different internship programs, AmeriCorps being one. We've taken advantage of the University of Oregon RARES program, Enterprise. I don't know if they still have it, but they have the Rose Fellowship Architectural internship program, fellowship program. So there's a lot of different ways of really getting folks into the industry. I'm going to talk about one that really gets me excited, and you look at it and it's like, California? I thought it was CASA of Oregon. Well, these guys run a program out of California that works mostly with California organizations, but it has worked with Oregon and Washington organizations, a number of whom I believe, Meg, you had a internship through this program. Dev Northwest, NeighborWorks Umpqua, and a couple others have used this program before. A great program. It really focuses on, it's rural development, obviously, but focusing on people of color to get them into the industry. And the program, it's a year-long program. They work the first 3 months full-time, and then, because typically it's their last year of school. We have had folks that have graduated and have worked the full year, but it's typically they work for the 3 months and then they work part-time, and we basically accommodate their school. Paid internship, typically the pay for the program is somewhere, it's got to be a minimum of $18. We pay $22 an hour. And, it's really to help them learn how to become like an associate developer. And so we're having them work on projects that will have them working, with a developer to understand the process, to understand how you work with the city to get the entitlements, how you work with funders to get the money. And it goes through the whole process. It does a little bit of asset management, but it's really focused more on the development side of things. We have had folks that have come to work on our CDFI, our loan fund side of things, but really the program works best for developing folks in the development field. So next slide. As I mentioned, it's paid. At this point, I think they have 10 organizations that are taking part. This year, we tried our recruitment a little bit different, and JT is going to talk a little bit about that recruitment process. We used Handshake. Before, we had gone around to different schools, Portland State, U of O, University of Portland. I know those aren't really rural places, but also to OSU and a couple of the other state colleges to recruit folks. And we found out Handshake was really the best way to go about it. We ended up getting probably 20 qualified applicants, of which we interviewed 5, and we had 3 really dynamite. And so we convinced our friends at CCRH to allow us to have 2 interns this year. Now there's a cost-sharing program, so there obviously is a cost involved. They pick up, I think, 30% of it, and then we pick up 70%. CCRH oversees the program. They go to California for an initial training. They need to do a presentation at the very end to graduate, but just a really great program. Next slide. Here's some of the highlights. 200 graduates. This is 50% retention is pretty incredible. I think you see there our success. We have one of our executive team members, one of our board members, and a current staff member went through this program. The goal is that you can, the hope is that you'll have a position when they come out as like a development associate. So, but they're not guaranteed employment. And since I'm getting to the 6-minute and I'm going to cut it short, I'm going to stop right there. But great program. We can talk more about it if you have any questions.
I'll just reinforce what Peter said about the CCRH program. As a recruiter, when I saw that on somebody's resume, I got excited. I have interviewed a number of people over the years who were graduates of that program. I've placed some of them. It's a great program, and if you are putting together an internship program, you could do a lot worse than to model your program after what CCRH is doing. They've been doing it for over 20 years and doing amazing work. I believe.
And Brian, Hoop, we need this in Oregon. That's just my comment, okay?
Thank you, Kathy. I don't know if it makes a difference if I sit or stand up because, very sure. Developing the new generation affordable housing leaders. And you can see at the bottom of the presentation that I have 2 organizations in there, FHDC, the Farmworker Housing Development Corporation, which is the development organization, housing development organization, and program services, and Evolve Workforce and Multifamily Housing Service, an arm really of FHDC that does all the property management services of our property. So you got 1 executive director for 2 organizations. And that is what happens mostly in communities of color. We all do more than 2, and in the nonprofit sector, really. We all do more than we can sometimes do. But I wanted to make sure that you understand these are two different organizations. What is the challenges in bringing people into the industry, especially, and I'm going to focus on people of color because that's what I do and that's who I am. The challenges are really the same. We don't have people that wants to get into the property management section. There is no opportunities for training. And by the way, there is no money most of the time to train people. So how we do this magic in our organization, because this is magic. This is not new for us. FHDC has been doing this kind of work since its inception 35 years ago. It has been very organic, it's true. Right now, and thank you to our staff, and specifically, and I'm gonna say her name, Magdalena Ruiz, who is at the end of this panel, at the end of this room. She came to us, I believe, 3 years ago, 4, and start talking to each individual of us and saying, okay, so what is exactly that you guys are doing? Because we have everything in here, as it usually happens. So she, after a year of talking to all of us, put together a curriculum and say, this is what I need. One more clarification, we are focusing in training property managers. And like Katie say, we have the baby, now we have to take care of the baby. And property managers do that, and asset managers do that. Not much developers, I'm sorry. You guys do the baby and get out of the room as soon as you can, you know? Because you don't want to deal with that problem, really. This is a lot of work. So according to HDC, you know, we have a lot of challenges. One of the first one is the high turnover. I think the site manager stay in their positions for top 2 years in the metro area. Our average, I have a staff that has been with us 20 years, has come from being a site manager today to be a director of property management. That was my case. That is the case of other people that is in our organization. But this is not a job, or it's not a something that we do, you know, just once a year. No, it's every day. Magdalena is in charge of putting together, as soon as you enter into the organization, to put together a professional development plan for each staff. Because we have this great curriculum, we have these cohorts, many people apply. I think during the last 3 years, we have at least 150 people that has gone through the process. Do they all stay? No. They stay for the classes, but when they see reality, when they see what it really takes to do property management, they say, this is not for me, but thank you. And we are super, super happy about that. Because we don't want to have people that at the middle of the year say, oh, yeah, by the way, this is not for me. For day one, when they say the cohort includes 40 hours of shadowing a senior manager. So that is when you see the reality. And at that time, they say, no, for me, thank you. I need to move on to some other places. And we help with that too, because for us, it's not about just the industry, it's about helping our individuals to get out of their cycle of poverty. This is a great profession to get out of that, and that's what we want in our communities. And we also acknowledge the fact that most of them are gonna look for better jobs, better positions, and better pay, because we are in rural. We are in a small organization. We can definitely not pay what a housing authority pays, a big nonprofit organization pays. And you might say, what is the win for you? But the win is that a person of color is getting ahead. And is getting ahead not only through salary and a better position, but also intellectually. They are thinkers. They do things different. We don't evict people. I always say in property management, we are not in the business of evicting people. We are in the business of housing people. And through this cultural specific property management program that we have people that understand the community that we serve. By the way, the majority of them farm workers. Most of the people that get into these jobs are either farm workers themselves or their parents has been farm workers. So they understand, they don't have credit. They don't have, a way to show that they are gonna pay rent on time. So with that in mind, they help the community to move ahead. Okay, next. You can get this, by the way, in your, we're gonna get all this. Financial incentives are really key to this program. Why? Because as we know, low-income family, low-income individual, especially single moms, needs to put somebody to take care of the kids so they can go to class. We do that. The program includes both technical and soft skills. Technical skills, seriously. KT just talked about that. You can go into CHAM, you can go in PCC, PSU, get the technical skills. We do that once you get a job with us. The soft skill is what we want more than anything, believe it or not. Because the soft skill is what is gonna help you to understand the community that you serve and don't get tired of this job. Well, I mean, you're gonna get tired, but not get overwhelmed with the challenges that you are confronted. Multicultural and multilingual options, obviously, you have to speak the same language and actually dress like the people that you are serving. And over my time. Why and how? Well, our program called TEACH, Training for Equity and Accountability in Community Housing, what we do is, as you get into the room with us and you are hired, we pair you with a seasonal site manager so you can learn from them. You can learn the culture of the organization, which is key to the success for our services. In higher levels, let's say the director of property management that came from being a site manager, we mentor this person with a person that has a lot of learning in this experience in this area. And by the way, all this costs money. And there is no money for workforce development. The money that goes into workforce development goes to the educational institution. They don't want to fund, small programs like us. And that is a challenge that each of you are going to confront if you want to create something like this. We do also one-on-one mentorship, and it's needed because individuals are individuals for some reason. You have to get through them. You have to know if they are really in the right place. And that one-on-one mentorship, that also includes developing your resume, because believe it or not, in rural areas, we have young people and adults too that don't have a resume, so we need to teach them from the beginning, and it's fine. We do that. We are trying to do job placement, but that's a really challenging and costly program, but we do it as much as we can. Access to workshops, like I say, we send people, once we hire them, we send people to trainings, because besides the soft skills, you need to know the technical skills that is gonna require you to run a property appropriately. Next, thank you. Why it works? I think it reduces the risk of hiring the wrong person. Like I say, they themselves come to us and say, not for me, but thank you. We are a team of 25 people in Evolve. Out of the 25 people, 4 has gone into a next level of, from assistant managers to a site manager and to director of property management. We have 100% retention of all the people that has gone through the program. 100% of them so far has stayed with us. Key programs. key to program success, I don't want to say that the program is a success and this is the magic formula. I think it's every day we work towards becoming better. I don't see also what we work for us working for all of you. But you can take the model. We are happy to talk to any of you at any point if you want to see at least how we started. Oh, thank you. Who's next? 11:25. Oh. Who's next?
So like I said before, JT with Sabin CDC. Our internship program, we work with a lot of like the local colleges, and I'm supposed to say local programs, but around Oregon, like U of O, PSU, UP, OSU, to get different individuals, not necessarily people who are already knowing they're going to be in housing, kind of gauging that like big pool of people that don't know they want to be in housing. I personally never thought I'd be doing housing in Portland, Oregon. I'm from Detroit, Michigan, and so this is like a big shift and then what I thought I would be doing. But we bring individuals in this space to do a bunch of different things from like community outreach, resident services, asset management, housing development. And we do also we do focus on people from underserved communities being a culturally specific organization. And we're not only bringing the individuals into like our organization to just work for us, but to also teach them about the place that they're working, the people that they're working with, and other like nonprofits in Oregon. And how we do part of that is we have these thing called SLI days. That's part of our internship program, where the interns get to go work with like a different organization for a day to learn about different things. And a lot of those partnerships have come through just like an initial email reaching out to people like, hey, we have these people, we want to teach them about Oregon and the different communities that like we all serve. Because Sabin specifically, we serve the African American community, but there's so many other people that serve like women, the Hispanic community, Native community. Lunch and Learns, like Kathy mentioned before, when someone comes and talks to maybe about like asset management, maybe the financing part, maybe like the development part, to help them really just sit down and have a conversation to understand more of the space. Just because affordable housing is a really confusing space. I know when I got into it, and everyone kept saying LIHTC, and I had no idea what that meant. But it's a big thing for us of teaching the people who are working with us where they're working and the people that they're working with. And we have a lot of different avenues for how we get like our interns and volunteers and stuff. And this kind of goes through it. Peter kind of mentioned it before, but AmeriCorps is a national program. They have multiple sectors. And a lot of this was started by our now ED, Mary Schoen Clark, when she first started at Sabin. But AmeriCorps National Program can do so many things. U of O has a PI program, which stands for Portland Internship Experience, where they work specifically with nonprofits to send like people to come work with them. The application opens up for it in like the winter or so, and they pay the interns directly through the program. I think their stipend is around like $5,000 to $7,000 or so. And there's a chance you could be selected when you apply to be a part of the PI program. But if your organization already has like the funds for it, you can just like put the money in to be secured for an intern. But a really cool program for the opportunity to like interact with college students who are specifically wanting to work in nonprofits. Also, PSU Just PDX is part of their urban planning program, and we got one intern through that who's now working on like our development side of stuff. And then Handshake, which I have a slide talking about next. And the bottom one is kind of just talking about, I think Sabin, Mary, tell me if I'm wrong, we have like 20-ish people FTE, and 10 of those people have come through different internships, different volunteer positions. And so over half of our staff has been vetted with like doing the different work, doing the different like positions that they had in their volunteer role, and then all of the work we do teaching them about where they work also really helps people for wanting to come back to work. And then lastly, I just want to talk about Handshake because Peter had also brought it up before. So it's like Indeed, but just for colleges. It's direct communication to the schools. Whatever position you have, you can post it up, the description, what degree levels you want, what skills you want, and students come through and apply for it on their own volition. And you can like set the internship for wherever you want to be. I think this past summer we put up 5 positions and we had well over 200 applicants from like U of O, OSU, PSU, and different schools. You can select which schools you want to go, even if you want to go like more national with it, which is a really cool and like easy, low barrier access. You just make an account and sign on. And you can use promotion options to like kind of broaden the scope of it so more people see it, but we never boosted ours and we got the amount of applicants that we got from it. But a really useful tool if you're just starting, like wanting to get interns without wanting to get in a specific program and kind of try it out yourself first.
Thank you, everyone. Pretty cool, huh? I mean, how many people knew all of this was going on? There are a lot of opportunities for young people to get trained in this field, and we need to keep spreading the word and keep growing these programs, because this is how we solve the problem of our limited talent pool. So now we want to give you all a chance to talk about this. So we're going to give you 10 minutes. And we want to just have you talk amongst yourselves, among the tables, talk about what you've heard today, what ideas you've heard that you might be able to implement in your own organization, or any ideas that you might have that might be useful here. So we're going to give you 10 minutes to talk about it, and then come back for questions and answers and for reflections back from your groups. Yeah, don't leave.
Don't feel like talking, I guess.
want to just do questions after this?
Yeah, I think ask the students to, if they'd like to reflect back on what they've heard and then answer questions. Hello, everyone. I'm hearing a lot of buzzing going on around the room, so I'm really pleased to hear. I think there's some great conversations happening, and so I'd like to kind of bring us all back. Panelists, if you can come back. We would like to hear any reflections that you might have from these conversations. Who would like to talk about what you've heard?
Funding. Very simple. Funding. We need funding for some of these programs right here, and hopefully somebody else can elaborate how we can get that.
That is a great point. Brian?
Yeah, so I'm with Housing Oregon, and yes, I've been part of these conversations of how we could bring something like this similar to California. It is the funding as well. I think we need to maybe look at partnering with Washington. I think maybe Oregon doesn't have the resources to pull it off ourselves. I think another issue, Housing Oregon was going to get its first fellow with funding from National Community Reinvestment Coalition and found out our first choice decided he couldn't afford to live on the West Coast and moved back to the Midwest. So do we need to be like also thinking about how to help them find housing so that if it's out-of-state students who are going to a West Coast college that they can stick around. But I definitely, so come talk to me, and Peter and I were just acknowledging that we need to bring together a cohort of folks who are interested in this to figure out a strategy, because it really is going to take some seed money from foundations or some banks, because that's my understanding from the California project is they were getting some big investments from some banks to, for multi-year grants to fund their program.
Thank you. I think that's a great point. We do need to come up with a solution for that end of the problem as well. But as Brian said, I think there are sources of funding. There are foundations. There are banks. There are a lot of organizations out there that do have some money and recognize that this is a solution. This is a problem that needs a solution, and some of them can pay up for it. So let's be creative about it. Anyone else have reflections from what they've heard in their groups? Yes.
My name is Miriam. I'm with HDC. Sorry. My name is Miriam. I'm with HDC, and at our table we talked about the importance of collaboration and information sharing, and the importance of asset management in the development process. And we at HDC we really want to make sure that everybody's aware of the resources that are out there, the information that's out there, and that we're all helping each other fix the problems that we are going through.
Thank you. Michael, do you want to talk a little bit about your internship program?
First of all, how many people are from PSU that are here right now? That's awesome. PSU? Yeah, that's what I'm saying. All right. So PSU right now has a Master of Science in Real Estate that you're probably familiar with. It's amazing. And our board also saw the need to create more management talent as well. So we have an undergraduate certificate and minor in real estate property management. And so that's, I'm the academic director for the real estate property management program. Right now I have 150 students in the program. So, this summer I had 16 different students at different property management companies doing internships for pay. 8 of them did them for credit as well, and I got money from Multifamily Northwest to pay for their tuition for that credit for the summer, plus a paid internship, and they are loving it. So tomorrow I have my students coming back to meet with the dean and talk to new people interested in the program for next summer. And I'm looking for, I just want to continue to prove this model. We go hard in our classes, wire to wire, how we teach. We have an urgency. I taught for 10 years for guardian management, getting property managers up and ready to manage. And so we, anyway, we teach people as if they're going to go into a job, right after my class. And I also worked for Home Forward. I was the asset management director for 6 years. And so I love the affordable housing world. Thank you for letting me talk for just a little bit. Don't forget about us. We are doing this right now. Yes?
Are you getting students from rural areas of Oregon?
I'm sorry?
Are you getting,
Oh, yes. So 75% of my students
Hello.
are first-generation college students. I have, again, a very diverse group of students. 40% of my students right now are Latino. And so we have just a great level of diversity in our program. And again, we have people like KT that come to our class and introduce them to it, and her excitement and enthusiasm is infectious. So I think we have a really great way to reach out to students and calibrate them correctly, ethically. Fair Housing Council comes to my classes, KT comes to my classes. We go over what we're required to do under the statutes. I'm a principal broker, so I have that hat on too when I'm teaching our students. I'm a CPM. So I think that we're bringing a good product to our students, just looking for more opportunities. And that's what I drive into school every day and drive home. I'm thinking about my whiteboard in my office, companies, students, trying to get them matched up, right? And then money to pay for their tuition. But thank you, and think of me, please. I think you've mentioned some other programs around PSU, but this one is focused on management, okay?
Thank you, Michael. We want to open it up to other questions, but before that, JT, I just want to make sure that you plug your get-together tonight.
There's a reception later. I think it starts at 6. It's for people who are early in their career. I think it said like first 2 to 5 years, just to network and get to know each other. And then also people who are looking and interested in getting to know people who are new in the industry to come like talk to the people who are there. It starts at 6. I don't remember what room it's in though, but it's in the program.
E135. Yeah, make a note of that. And if you are at that point in your career, or if you're here with anyone else at that point in their career, they should come. So we have about 10 minutes left for questions. Anybody have a question for anyone on this distinguished panel? Yes, Molly.
Build up a lot of these tools and trainings and curriculum. It's been reaction to market needs and challenges we have all faced. We all knew we needed to figure out asset management when we were having troubles with lease-up. I'm asking, where are you predicting we're going to see the biggest gaps in, say, 5 to 10 years from now? And where do we need to be thinking about building up proactively?
I think that property management, actually, because that job, whether you're on site as an assistant or a site manager or a portfolio manager or even director of property management, it's one of the hardest jobs. And we hear that over and over. Asset managers work directly with property management. The amount of turnover, and everybody who works in our industry I'm seeing a lot of heads nodding. The amount of turnover is just massive. So I think that we've got to stabilize that and really, and I think it's only going to, if we don't, I think it's just going to get more and more intense. So I feel like over the next 5 years, and there's money that's been set aside from the state that we're trying to kind of pull together ideas and how to kind of stop the hemorrhaging of turnover and problems. But I think that's one of the biggest areas. And obviously, Meg's Evolve is working on trying to stabilize and is stabilizing the workforce in property management. Anybody else? What else? Kathy? Yeah. Here.
Yeah. Yes, and I'd like to hear from Meg first, and then I'll talk.
I wasn't going to talk.
Oh, yeah, you are. Yeah, you
no,
are.
I actually agree with Kimberly. I think in rural areas, it's everywhere. It's not just property management, it's definitely asset management and housing development. We have a crisis in our area, and that's why I was asking PSU is, people from their classes are trying even to look into living in rural areas. And believe me, I understand. Young people wants to be in the city where everything happens, when the salaries are better, but also the cost of living is higher. Well, we will have to look into that. But property management, definitely, with the number of units that the governor wants to put in place, we need property managers because it's not an easy business. And it's not an easy business to do property management. The situation gets worse when it's specifically to homeless communities, to people with veterans. It's also, it's challenging. So I always say that property management managers are becoming more like a mental health professional than anything else because you have to understand the community that you manage. Thank you.
Yes, and yes. And Molly, you, she didn't say who she was, but she manages all of Washington County and housing. The whole dang thing, just the Department of Housing Services. And you have been, last year you were a panelist on our mentorship and so you are one of the leaders that I look to. And Mary from Sabin CDC and Rachel from SEPA in bringing on that next generation. I think we are in for a really challenging, and I'm in shared company. We're in for a really tough period over the next couple of years. And the thing that I see is we've got to, as an industry, take care of ourselves and support each other through this so that when we get to the end of it, because these things don't last forever, and everyone will see how important affordable housing is when some of it starts disappearing, or we aren't able to grow what we want because the federal funding isn't there. So really, I see that it's the challenge for this 5 years is let's make sure that we keep everybody at the table and provide them the support that they need so that when we get to the better days, we've got the skill base there and we don't lose folks. So that's what I view the big challenge of, and that's what I'm doing. That's what PNW WAN, Pacific Northwest Women's Affordable Housing Network, that's one of the key things I view.
Thank you.
Really briefly, we didn't really touch on preservation, and preservation has evolved over time. It used to be big P preservation, those federal projects, and then it was little p, which included LIHTC projects, and then it's projects that have struggled through the arrearages, the hangover from the pandemic, another form of preservation, and then we do manufactured housing park preservation. So the legislature did not treat preservation very well this year. So there's a lot of projects out there really in need of help. We're seeing nonprofit owners selling some of their projects because there's just not a way to find the funding to keep them in the portfolio. So we really need to not just focus on new construction. We got to be looking at what preservation looks like. I just came back from Nashville, Tennessee, and was talking to some affordable housing developers there, and their state housing finance agency, beyond the 15-year compliance period, they don't really care what happens to these projects. So they're getting sold, and their folks are going onto the streets in Nashville, and you're like, at least our state government is smart enough to know, how to prevent it, but they're not putting the money into it. And frankly, there just isn't enough money. So we need to be thinking about, are there new funding sources beyond general fund and these tax credits that we sell, either state or local? We got to be thinking much bigger. Do we go back and talk about mortgage interest deduction? Do we go back and start talking about a state bank to keep the money here and keep the money. I mean, do we look at a CRA, a Community Reinvestment Act, that applies to community or credit unions and to mortgage companies, and make sure that money stays in. So I just want to throw out that, we got to be looking a bit bigger about where the money is going to come from, because the current funding sources just aren't going to cover it.
Thank you, Peter. Katie, did you have one? Okay, one. All right, there you go.
I know we're wrapping up. I just want to say regarding preservation, the one little sliver of money that we did get it's focused on preservation is around property management, like stabilizing operations, and asset management training and technical assistance, which is very small compared to what we need, but it's something. And HDC is the one leading that charge, so there'll be lots and lots of information coming and ways to get involved in the conversation around what do we do about property management, how can we get more folks trained up in preserving our housing through really proactive asset management. So lots more to come on that. Thank you.
Kathy has one last thing.
And advocacy. Brian, what we do at Housing Oregon, what we did this last year through working groups and the like, I think this will be key. We got to fight. And so be a part of Housing Oregon, be on the committees, and don't just sit back and say, oh, I'm a victim. We got to fight, because it's worth it.
Thank you to this amazing panel. Thank you all for coming. Let's all think about creating a culture of mentorship in this industry, because we are going to need it. Thank you so much.